Am I good? All right. So, hi, my name is Becky Lee, and I'm your last Tech Talk, and I'm going to be talking about Canvas. So, I think this sort of goes with the theme of pretty things that move of the last couple of talks. So we did have a little bit of interaction with Canvas during our worldwide whiteboard workshop, but we didn't really get a chance to go into it very much, and so a little more information would be kind of nice. So Canvas is awesome. You can do really cool things with Canvas, guys. You can animate things, you can do graphics, a lot of games can be done in it. It's really cool. This is all done in Canvas. That's awesome. So how do you do it? So it's not actually that hard, which is the good news. Every single Canvas thing needs two parts. One is you actually need to have a Canvas element in your HTML, obviously. You need to grab it, and then you need to do this .getContext2D in order to be able to use all of the things that it has on it. There is no 3D, but apparently they are working on it, and it might exist soon. Exciting. So Canvas only comes with one pre-built shape, and that's a rectangle, which takes your x, y coordinates, width, and height. And you can do fill rect, which is a filled in one, stroke rect, which is just the outline, and then clear rect, which just sort of removes everything that's behind it, which is kind of cool. But that doesn't mean you can't make whatever other shapes you want to be making. So there's a couple different ways to draw things. You can use line 2, which is exactly what it sounds like, and it draws a line between wherever you are and wherever you want to go. Or you can do begin path and close path, which just says anything that I do within here, this is where I'd like lines to be drawn, except you actually have to do the dot stroke thing in order for it to show up, or dot fill for it to fill in, I guess. So you can also do a whole lot of transformations and things like that. So translate changes the origin of whatever you're working with. Rotate does exactly what it sounds like, but it also, just for the record, takes radians, so you do have to worry about translating that. And then there's transform / set transform, which is a little more complicated. It takes in, I wrote this down because there's no way I'm remembering, the x scale, x skew, y scale, y skew, and then the dx, dy. So essentially, it does all of these crazy things in one go. Set transform just makes it that. If you just use the word transform, it'll multiply whatever you pass in to whatever settings are already there, which is really cool, but potentially not great because you could accidentally do really weird things, which I've done quite a bit of. So the useful other thing that comes with this is there's also save and restore, which essentially allows you to save whatever settings you have. So that's the other thing. All of these affect everything that comes afterwards. So if you do translate up at the top, every other rectangle you're making is now also translated. So there's save and restore. So if, let's say, before I did that translate, I did ctx.save, it would save whatever settings I have, which is the origin not being translated. And then I could use restore afterwards to go back to that. So basically just puts it onto a stack, and then you can pop it off. This is also really helpful if, let's say, I want to make a bunch of squares. I want red, blue, green, blue, red. You could just sort of save after each one and then restore afterwards to go back to whatever settings you were using for the previous one. So there's also compositing. This is a lot going on the slide to say not that much. It just basically allows you to decide how you want the different elements on your page to interact with one another, whether you want them to go on top, do you want only the outline to show up, do you want nothing in the middle, like just sort of all these different options, and that's just simply done by saying global composite operation and setting that equal to whatever type you want, which gets us to the fun stuff, animations. So Canvas gives you something really useful, which is request animation frame. So that takes a callback function, and it does anything that's in there. And I have it set up so it obviously just keeps calling it. This can happen up to 60 times per second, or slower depending on your browser and your own computer situation. But this is really cool. So I'm going to show you what this actually does, because it might be helpful. So this is all being run. Wow, that is slow right now. This is done in Canvas. So essentially, it's changing both the Earth and the Moon around it. So going back to the code really quick, you can see that we're affecting the rotation and the translation of it to allow it to show up in different locations every time and to follow along this path that we want it to follow along with. So you can also do some other really cool stuff with animations. You can also do, one second. You can control boundaries, you can control velocity, acceleration, all those kind of things. And this is where stuff gets kind of cool, where you can actually put in like real physics and things like that for whatever you're trying to get done. So for this one, I put a kind of aggressive like deceleration thing going on. But it does allow you to do some really cool stuff. And this is where we get into more gaming graphics and things like that. Other thing, which is my personal favorite, is pixel manipulation. So this is just really awesome. And for the record, my dance party, this is how I remove the background of the video in real time. So Canvas allows you to do this nifty little thing, which is just get image data. And that gives you back an object that has a .data property on it that gives you the RGBA information for every individual pixel, which is a really cool and very powerful thing to be able to do. This is great for things like grayscale, inversing color, removing the background of whatever you're dealing with, and a whole slew of other pretty cool stuff. And so I actually have a little example for that one as well, which is your classic color picker that you've seen a million times, I bet. Yeah, so this just will tell you whatever's behind it. So you can send that in sort of, you can grab the whole image, you can grab a portion of the image, whatever you want, whatever is best for your own purposes. And it also allows you to, let's say when you take it in, you can manipulate it, do whatever you want to do with it, and then send it back out with draw image, which means that you can do things and render them and change whatever you want. You can also save images for later, or if you just want to compare for other images. So that's pretty much what I had. Oh, wrong thing. So I have some further reading, but also just really cool websites that use Canvas. It's not that hard to do something that looks really, really cool. I would definitely recommend you guys play around with it. I've now officially used it in both my Stackathon project and also now in CodyBlocks. So it's definitely a very useful tool to have. Oh, it's not called CodyBlocks anymore, sorry. Yeah, thank you.